With 2025 full of expensive failures under the Marvel Cinematic Universe, one of Disney's divisions, by the way, that's going under a lot of problematic situations right now, everything ranging from Captain America 4's reshoots to Blade 2025 going through a lot of revisions, and let's not forget about all the drama surrounding Fantastic Four. It's not looking good next year, and even this year, there's been quite a number of challenges that Disney has been facing across all divisions over at Disney. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, HUGH JACKMAN and Ryan Reynolds, we know that there were some areas that they had a lot of problems with when it came to this movie about Disney's push for DEI in the third act, which by the way is something that they are pushing for with future reshoots that will begin in early spring, leading into the end of April, right around that time frame before they wrap it all up completely and begin the marketing of the movie before its July release date window. Now, what's interesting about HUGH JACKMAN is that, yes, we know that Wolverine is the main selling point of the third Deadpool film. I mean, this is the main reason why people want to see this thing. They want to see the duo, right? Both Deadpool and Wolverine teaming up, having fights, stuff like that. And that's really the overall motive that Disney is trying to establish for Marvel fans. Now, what's interesting about this has a lot to do with Jackman standing up against Disney in the ongoing fight against Bob Iger's push for DEI in Deadpool 3. Let's get into all of this, shall we? Now, we know that directors Shawn Levy and writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick have been very fed up with Disney as well, along with Ryan Reynolds. However, with all divisions over at Disney beginning to collapse with expensive failures in the works, one major development has to do with the third Deadpool film and actor HUGH JACKMAN actually going up against Disney yet again in preparation for some reshoots planned for early spring, roughly by late March of this year. As it turns out, Jackman was enraged with Disney's plan to reshoot some scenes for Wolverine mixed in with some new character cameos from the MCU that would push Disney's DEI agenda. This ranged from gender swaps of popular male characters that would actually be created as X-Men characters that would be swapped and inserted from another universe that was planned to interact with Wolverine, as Disney also wanted to rewrite some of Wolverine's dialogue. Now, both Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, the writers of the film, knew this would be a disaster in the making, and to a shocking surprise, Jackman did put his foot down and stood up against Disney once more in a recent remote meeting that took place between the creators and the main stars of the film. Jackman made a serious ultimatum with Bob Iger and those over at Disney that he would be willing to breach his contract and refuse to get himself involved in such damaging reshoots that would also tarnish his acting career, at least for this scene specifically. He was even warning Disney that he would be willing to not attend the world premiere if they were to move forward with those plans by Disney to essentially turn the Wolverine character into an overly comedic character at that, in the revised dialogue that would actually cater to the agenda-driven X-Men characters that were going to be gender swapped. What's shocking is that Jackman's ultimatums were so strong against Disney that Disney felt they had no way out and decided to fall and cave to Jackman's demands to not push this entire scene, which was reportedly going to be a 6-minute scene of Wolverine facing gender-swapped X-Men characters that were reportedly villains from another universe. Wolverine's character was said to lose the battle against these characters with cringeworthy dialogue that was being passed down by the Disney heads onto the writers. Now, Disney in general, and their message to the writers was that they wanted the dialogue to be typical Marvel humor for Wolverine, and both Ryan Reynolds and Jackman knew going in that this was not going to work for the Wolverine character, as it would break away from how he was and how he has been established in past X-Men films under Fox. Now, one of the gender-swapped characters that Wolverine was supposed to face was a female iteration of Magneto from another universe that was going to fight and gain the upper hand over Wolverine. Guys, let me stop here quick. Now, is anybody else feeling like the multiverse is like an excuse or a way to have Disney justify a reason to either gender swap or race swap specific fan favorite characters? Because I believe so. That's really what it comes across as, and I think it's why they are really pushing the multiverse beyond, you know, expectations. They want to do this in Secret Wars now. They want to do this, of course, in other installments that's going to lead up to that movie. It's really becoming a little bit, you know, overdone at this point in time. In fact, it's getting way overdone. So I'm glad that Jackman, once again, you know, put that ultimatum against Disney and really stood his ground and faced them with the help of Ryan Reynolds, the writers, and director Shawn Levy, who, by the way, is getting a Star Wars project and supports the character of Rey. That's my only major criticism about Shawn, is that he supports Disney's push for Rey Skywalker, and I'm not really all that keen on that. But interestingly enough, though, so far, you know, has been doing a great job as a director with DEADPOOL as a whole. Now, what's interesting about this, further, is that the whole entire situation involving the backlash, of course, from the creatives and, of course, many of the higher-ups was so strong that it was created by HUGH JACKMAN that even the writers and director Shawn Levy quickly stepped in to defend Jackman's reputation as an actor and didn't want to fall into getting stuck with such an awful scene. Disney reportedly is still attempting to reshape the third act of the film with some wins and losses against the cast and crew. And in this case, Jackman got things done his way against Disney's push for DEI and their agenda into that scene, which was also going to be an expensive one at that. However, Jackman, Reynolds, the writers, and director Shawn Levy are still battling Disney to make things right with the third act, as Bob Iger continues to remain very stubborn with his stance on the third Deadpool film. Disney also desperately made the trailer to be very attractive for its audience to gain hype before its release. And that's another thing, by the way, is that they really worked very hard, as in Disney, on this trailer that will be teased on Super Bowl Sunday, February 11th. That's the overall plan, at least for now. And they're doing everything in their power to make this movie work at the end of the day. You know, we all know that trailers can be misleading either for better or worse. This is a common thing, and this is pretty much common knowledge. But I think when it comes to Disney, it really goes to a different level. We all saw what happened with The Last Jedi. You check out those trailers and TV spots, they're amazing. When you go ahead and see the movie, it's terrible. It's just utter garbage. I mean, that's just is what it is, right? So when you look at Deadpool 3 here, all of this nonsense of how Disney was pushing for a gender-swapped Magneto, a female Magneto, and yes, an actual gender-swapped version of that character, not a character with similar powers, an actual swapped version, was gonna go head-to-head against Wolverine, and Wolverine was gonna actually lose that battle. And he knew going in, you know, Jackman's a smart guy. He knew that there would be a lot of fan backlash against a scene like that. He didn't want to get involved in any of that kind of pushback from fans, and that would actually, you know, stick along with his acting reputation. And I think a lot of fans are smart enough to know that Jackman is just caught up in this Disney mess right now, that it's not necessarily even his fault, but I'm glad at the end of the day that he stood up for himself. So overall, guys, you know, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.